When it comes to TNA Bound for Glory, the After the Glory recap show, I've been a big fan of this and a big component of this for years. And I know a lot of people are like, you don't want a live edition of Impact immediately following Bound for Glory. Well, my wrestling fan aspect of me does want a live edition of Impact, new wrestling content. But I also understand to emphasize that Bound for Glory is the biggest show of the year, and to emphasize the fact that what you've seen at Bound for Glory truly, really matters. I think slowing things down and pulling back and saying, pump the brakes, pump the brakes. We just seen Mike Santana realize his dream at Bound for Glory, and re-emphasizing how important that moment is. I think that's significant. When you talk about the Dudleys getting retired and the Hardy Boys winning their match, pumping the brakes and saying that was a significant moment, this changes the landscape of TNA wrestling. I think that's why this recap show really matters. I know there's logistics in the fact that the reason they're really doing this is because of the TV deal coming up. They want to put most of their energy behind the television deal, and I think that's also smart. But I wouldn't mind seeing this every year right after Bound for Glory, slowing things down and appreciating what happened at Bound for Glory. I think it's the biggest show of the year, and it truly needs to be presented in a way before and after. The build to Bound for Glory has to be tremendous, and then after Bound for Glory, going back and saying what you've seen was very important, and also in the future going back and saying you should order Bound for Glory before we move on to something else. You should order Bound for Glory because it was good for all these reasons to increase pay-per-view buys after the fact. I think there could be a lot of energy spent and well spent that was spent on building Bound for Glory even after the fact. I think it's a good idea, and I really truly think that emphasizing that Mike Santana winning the title was the biggest turning point in company history. He is the first homegrown superstar to ever win the TNA title at the biggest show of the year. He is the first homegrown talent to be put in a storyline where he overcomes his foe, his enemy, and in this case it was the WWE. He beat the WWE, and that should be what they should continue to push. That he defeated all his enemies. And Bound for Glory truly was that. He defeated Trick Williams. He essentially defeated Nick Nemeth, and he defeated Frankie Kazarian all in one night. Those last two weren't sanctioned matches, but they were trying to make them sanctioned matches, and he defeated all his problems. That's what the storyline was about. He overcome all the odds, and he truly became the world heavyweight champion by defeating everything that was against him. I think that's the story that should have been told. He defeated going to rehab, coming back from rehab, and succeeding. You don't do that most of the time. When you go to rehab, you relapse. He defeated that, and he is the true story that anytime someone has a drug problem, he was able to overcome that. He overcome all his enemies, all his demons, and was able to become the most successful TNA wrestler in all time, because he was able to, he didn't come from a WWE background. He didn't come from star power. He created his own star power, and Mike Santana is the best babyface world champion. And to mind, the only other champion that comes close to him is Bobby Roode, but Bobby Roode was a heel, and he is the first babyface world heavyweight homegrown talent. Bobby Roode but Bobby Roode often needed help. He was a heel, so he cheated all the time. And Mike Santana did none of that. He was a babyface, and continuing to push him as a strong babyface world heavyweight champion will be significant in TNA's future. And I hope that even when he does lose the title, he recaptures the world title many times. Much the same way, and I hate to make this comparison, but much the same way as John Cena, where he would lose the title, but he would often regain the title. I definitely would like to be talking about Mike Santana being a 17-time World Heavyweight Champion one day. I truly would enjoy that. I think that would be great. Mike Santana could be the face of TNA Wrestling. And I believe everybody would agree that right now the face of TNA Wrestling is still AJ Styles, whether you like that or not. That's just the stigma out there. I know Bobby Roode did a great job as world champion, but no one personified TNA Wrestling like AJ Styles. I think Mike Santana can do that. He's a rugged, tough character that I think could ultimately be the face of TNA Wrestling. I truly think Mike Santana could take TNA Wrestling to the new era, especially with this TV deal, which would put TNA in a position to be bigger than ever, bigger than what they were in the Spike TV days. Mike Santana can take TNA to the next era of professional wrestling. That's just some of my thoughts. I'm Kent Jones, and I'm signing off.